Right.
Looking at this bill, I do not see a piece of legislation. I see a small minority party reshaping the very fabric of Aotearoa. Decades of precedent, debate, social justice, and activist work will be undone in one fell swoop. This legislation is often described as deeply divisive. I argue, however, that this is not the case. The last time the public was allowed to have a say, 23,000 New Zealanders spoke their minds through the submission process, with only 0.33 supporting the bill. This is David Seymour's fourth attempt to pass this legislation. Each time it has been overwhelmingly rejected by the people of Aotearoa. The government that governs best is the government that governs least. This is a direct quote from David Seymour speaking on the House floor. A quote that, in my opinion, encapsulates the aim of the Regulatory Standards Bill. It is a view that is unrealistic and undemocratic. The idea of cutting bureaucratic red tape sounds great in theory, as we've seen countless times throughout Aotearoa's history. Unregulated industries are not to be trusted. I will remind you of the Pike River Mine tragedy. This event took place on November 19, 2010, resulting in the devastating loss of 29 New Zealanders. Since then, we have seen significant changes to workplace regulation, including the Health and Safety Act in 2015. This, however, has not resulted in safer work conditions, with nearly 10,000 Kiwis having died from occupational health issues or workplace fatalities since that date. An average of 1,000 deaths per year, 3 per day. This does not include the nearly 500,000 workers injured in the workplace over the same period. Regulations and safety standards are written in blood, the blood of thousands who have died trying to put food on the table. These are not statistics, these are people. I have another quote from David Seymour, again taken from the House. This bill is a crucial piece of legislation for improving the long-term quality of regulation in our country, and ultimately allowing New Zealanders to live longer, happier, and wealthier lives. Well, in my opinion, this bill does not aim to do that. It is the exact opposite. When a significant portion of our workforce, especially Māori, are employed in high-risk industries such as forestry, agriculture, and manufacturing, now is not the time to reduce regulations and safety standards. I also would like to talk on housing. In a country where 1 in 3 Kiwis are renting their home, including me, it is shameful that this bill is even being considered. Think of the majority of renters whose homes have mould, the almost half who live in damp houses, and the third of New Zealanders who can see their breath inside their own homes. Back in 2019, the Healthy Home Standards was introduced, aimed at revolutionising the rental market and giving renters a chance to live in a house that is fit for purpose. This bill seeks to dismantle the over half a decade of precedent set by that act. I will again raise the issue of cutting the red tape, which has already been attempted in the housing sector. In 1993, when the 1991 Building Act came into effect, the industry was allowed to take the reins, and we saw the emergence of the leaky building crisis. Companies cut corners to increase their profits, as without regulation, they were free to do things on the cheap. This not only caused several thousand homes and commercial buildings to fail to meet any sort of safety or health requirements, but also cost the government billions of dollars. This is something that has affected tens of thousands of Kiwis and will continue to affect them if the bill is passed. The industry does not know best. It has failed us time and time again in the name of profit, and will leave Parliament to clean up the mess. We must aid our renters, not the landlords that have been graciously given billions in tax cuts to. Instead, we need to force them to meet the standards. In a cost of living crisis we have not seen since the financial crash, this bill seeks to give even more power to the landlord and developer class. It is unfair to everyday New Zealanders. It is unjustifiable to allow our most vulnerable to suffer. Unquestionably, this bill represents a return to our neoliberal past that did nothing but create suffering for the working class and our most vulnerable. In summary, I believe this is an appalling piece of legislation that will not only set Aotearoa back decades, but will also result in people's lives being lost, the health of our nation worsening, and a social unravelling. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your submission. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're now going to welcome Kiwis for the Treaty.
Okay. Before we get to our next commentary, we'd like to welcome David, who is one of the admins of the Facebook group Kill the Regulatory Standards Bill. And Hal is my friend who is in the same postcode but in Wellington Central.
He is very good and very, very pleased to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me, Sam.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Any good vegan dishes you can tell us about, considering vegan butter is half the price of cow's milk butter at the moment?
You're on a political broadcast. You want me to offer you up a bit of some culinary advice?
Fair enough. Well, we've got some eager people who might be willing to learn in a cost of living crisis to try out these vegan dishes.
Well, I mean, what can I say? It sounds like if you just go to the supermarket and get Nuttix or whatever is out there, it'll be cheaper than butter. So, what better reason could you have?
Coconut oil is a
recipes,
a
David?
sorry?
Got any low salicylate vegan recipes?
What's salicylate?
Nuttalex, you have to have the right Nuttalex to be able to eat it.
Hana, I've never heard of that before. What is that?
Oh, it's aspirin that appears in aspirin. It's an allergy to aspirin that appears in lots of natural goods that, lots of vegan ones. Anyway, keep your eye out from now on, David, because I'm got my hand up.
I was just gonna say though,
things I can eat.
coconut oil is a great alternative to cream if anyone wants an alternative for cream. I've been using
Yes,
that.
I know. As a person with dairy allergy, yes, that is very, very common, and I blame my grandfather for that one because we've worked out which grandparent it came from.
Very high salicylates in coconut oil, unfortunately.
And
You're killing it! God!
No. First rule, be yourself.
Well, I tell you what, if we're going to circle back to the RSB, then RSB would probably be a great excuse to take the ingredients off packaging so that people can't see what they're eating, because that might adversely affect the profits of companies. Is that my little segue there, Sam?
Yeah, that's a great point to put. Great point out there.
I mean that was more or less the crux of that submission that I got, was just to do with deregulation in certain areas. I think he particularly highlighted the housing sector. It seemed most of the time.
Do you think it was any kind of any mistake that he chose to focus on Pike River when we know that Van Velden is trying to roll back the work safe, and apparently it's a little bit too scary. I think that was quite a clever strategy he used.
Oh yes, using Pike River. Well, I mean, isn't there some certain things you've got to put in there that wind up New Zealand first? Like you mentioned things about bank fraud. Hana's probably the better expert on how to wind up New Zealand first in your submissions.
I thought you were going to say she's the better expert on bank fraud.
No, winding up New Zealand first.
I have no knowledge of, and therefore deny I can wind up New Zealand first.
Well, you've just got to use Te Reo Māori, that'll do it.
No, Shane can outrank me on that on any day, to be honest.
Which is the irony.
Old friend of mine. Many iterations of the man.
Yeah.
I've had different experiences with him.
Right.
And I have views that I shouldn't express, that's for sure.
It is very interesting because you'll hear. I mean, they could be hit or miss, but you'll hear stories of MPs and people in Parliament, if they just want to annoy Winnie a little bit, they just say, "Kia ora mātua,"
Well, Winston's got longevity. You'd have to give him that. He certainly knows how to ride the waves.
Yeah.
I was going to say the next Dianne Feinstein in waiting.
I've found it interesting that New Zealand First has been almost seen as a beacon of possibility by those of us who hope that coalition agreement can be waived. And there are all sorts of reasons why National should, I think must, consider that agreement with ACT was squandered by David Seymour at the moment that he said anything about, oh, look, let's have a civil war, or we may have a civil war, because it's so reckless of a politician. And but I think in terms of New Zealand First, I can't see them. It'll be interesting to see how they respond to their own priorities in relation to good governance and efficiency. That it's going to be defined, like the rest of the uses of those terms in this Act, by themselves.
Yeah.
And not just David Seymour, who's the master of interpretation in his own structure that he's created. We will have to wait and see if good governance means engagement and inclusivity and those kinds of checks and balances on profit that people's participation provides in New Zealand's democracy, not simply enforcement of regulation, but voicing of people so they can improve cost-benefit analysis, which is the main engine in this act, and has so many substantial flaws or potential flaws to it. But yeah, I'm not optimistic that their interpretations are going to be centrist.
I want to hear what the others just say first before I weigh in.
Oh,
Yeah, it's interesting.
a contact I have in NZ First. So this is before the select committee process happened, but the words were there has to be significant changes to the bill at select committee before New Zealand First will consider supporting it at second reading. So that is something I've heard, and that is from the I'd call the Tracy Martin side of New Zealand First.
Got it.
Yeah, if that gives you an idea which sources I'm hearing it from.
That Tracy Martin that was she Associate Minister of Education at some point?
Yes.
She was
the one who was also the Minister of Aotearoa Tamariki.
She was pretty good to work for.
Yeah, she was rated as by Jacinda Ardern probably in that particular cabinet the minister she worked with the best. I
was a lowly senior advisor, but in education, but there was some capability, and there was some overview, social overview, and humanistic overview.
Do you think that wing, if you like to call it, because they're obviously not there now, but do you think they still have any sway?
I think there is a bit of sway in there because it makes up about half of the New Zealand First MPs in Parliament.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, but the half that you see is a different story, possibly, because we see certain groups, but there is that wing. There is the wing that's still there.
The problem is it just reminds me of the whole adults in the room narrative we were using around Trump, and of course that didn't work.
Yeah.